The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. Most people know that iodine deficiency has been a crisis around the world. Iodine is key to so many of the body's functions, especially the thyroid. I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating, and the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off super detox special at InfoWarsLife.com. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
You are listening to an Infowars.com frontline report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin, and I have on the line Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury during the Reagan administration. We've been talking about what's going on in the Ukraine, how General Breedlove and those in the Senate, now 22 co-sponsors of a Senate bill all about Russian aggression. And, of course, they're pushing on that. I want to continue with Dr. Roberts, but I want to let you know that we have a special going on right now on Prison Planet TV. Have you seen the new studio that we've got? You know, for a long time, you've been supporting us. That's how we operate. Your contribution, your subscription really is our budget. And I can tell you from having worked here for a couple of years that Alex is putting that all back into the business. He's investing that back in so we can affect more change as you partner with us. Right now, we have a special at Prison Planet TV. You can get 5.3 months for free. You always get 2 months for free whenever you sign up. But right now, through the end of the month, you get another 3 additional months. It's $39.95 is all it is for a 1-year subscription. And that is available through the end of the month. We also are slashing prices on the 1776 apparel, shirts, belt buckles. You can get all that stuff at InfoWarsStore.com. The 800 number is 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. That's 888-253-3139. When you partner with us, that allows us to do things like expand the footprint and the reach of the nightly news. When you get a subscription, Prison Planet TV, you can share that with up to 11 people at the same time, can watch the news along with you. All of Alex Jones's documentaries are available there online. So it's a great way to get the information out there. It's a great way to support this operation. And of course, we have built it with your support. Now, I want to go back to Dr. Roberts. We were talking just before the break about really kind of the asymmetric warfare that's going on between Russia and the United States. The United States believes that they can win a nuclear exchange with Russia. They believe that they have a superior force militarily. So Putin's strength is not really that. As you pointed out in the last segment, he went to the Duma and said, I want you to revoke my ability to use force in Ukraine. He's trying to show the world that he's not aggressive militarily, and yet it looks as though they're going to be very aggressive in terms of economic changes. That's really where his strength is, isn't it, Dr. Roberts, with the BRICS? We just had an article yesterday where financial analyst Jim Willey said that he believes that Germany is secretly planning to join the BRICS. That would be Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, trying to set up an alternative to the unipolar system of the dollar. What is that going to do to us as Americans, Dr. Roberts, if they're successful in doing that?
Well, you know, in my book, I wrote The Failure of Laissez-Faire Capitalism and Economic Dissolution of the West. Came out in English last year. It came out in German the year before. And in the book, I point out to German, because it was published in Germany, that they stand to gain most by being economically allied with Russia. And, of course, the book's been read in Germany and discussed. And so this may actually be in their mind, or at least they are aware that they have an alternative to being tied down in the EU by the European Central Bank, by the European Parliament, and by Washington. But I don't think it's likely that we'll see Germany join the BRICS. This might happen some years from now as more countries do what the BRICS are doing, which essentially amounts to settling their international trade relations with one another in their own currencies without the use of the US dollar. So it is an abandonment by those 5 countries of using the dollar as a world reserve currency. Now, this is likely to spread because there's no need any longer, in my opinion, for a world reserve currency. This was a role necessary after World War II, when every other economy was destroyed. No one had an economy except the United States. And therefore, it had the only currency that was backed by the production of real goods and services. You know, Russia was in ruins, Germany is in ruins, England, France, Japan was in ruins, China was still a third world backwater. And so it was only the dollar that could provide that role. But today you see there are many economies that are doing well, whose own currencies are valuable and are backed by the output of goods and services. And in most cases, by a sounder monetary and fiscal policy.
Yeah, yeah.
So
certainly in the case of Germany, right?
They can use, well, Germany no longer has its own currency. Mm-hmm. It got tricked into giving up the mark for the euro.
Right, that's right.
But it could go back. Mm-hmm. And so countries can now resolve their trade in their own currencies. And of course, it's cheaper because if you're using the dollar, it means, first of all, you have to pay a foreign exchange transaction to convert your currency into dollars. And then you use the dollars for payment, and then the country who receives the dollars, then it has to pay a foreign currency transaction to convert the dollars into its currency. So it greatly lowers cost of settling international accounts to deal in your own currencies and to avoid the dollar. So this may actually happen. It may come about. And of course, if the dollar loses its role, it means demand for dollars collapses, and so would the exchange value of the dollar. So the United States would become much poorer. People would experience dramatic domestic inflation from the rising price of imports, and Washington would no longer be able to pay its bills by printing money.
Yes.
So the BRICS, in this sense, represent a major threat, and that would be another reason Washington might want to take out Russia, because Russia is one of the two foundations of the BRICS, along with China. But
and as this article, I want to point out, as this article said earlier this month, the BRICS announced the creation of a new $100 billion anti-dollar alternative IMF bank that's going to be based in Shanghai, and it will be chaired by Moscow.
Yes, they'll eventually have $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the IMF is used to loot countries for Western banks.
Yes.
And finally, the Russians and the Chinese and the Indians have caught on.
Yeah, they're going to set up their own looting regime, right, to do that. Yeah, we've been living off of this credit card economy ever since we were able to do that after World War II. As you point out, so many other countries actually have a much sounder economy than we do. So what happens? You said it's going to be massive inflation. We all know that. I mean, just how bad do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be kind of a hyperinflation once the world goes off of the American dollar?
I can't predict, but I can predict U.S. living standards will take a big hit.
Yes.
But this could be long in coming. It doesn't mean it's going to happen this year or next. It could be long in coming. I think that Willis, he sees the direction of things, and of course I see the same directions. But I think he's a little bit premature in the actual happening. But of course, it could happen quickly.
Well, one of the things that he mentioned that I thought was interesting was he thought that the NSA spying on Germany was largely out of a paranoia that they might be trying to make some financial move. Now, whether or not that's true, certainly what we have done and what's come to light with the NSA spying has prepared the German public to want to essentially distance themselves from us. And, of course, we dictate sanctions to them, tell them they have to join with us on our foreign policy. I would imagine that a lot of countries, not just Germany, are getting pretty sick and tired of that.
Well, they may be. Actually, one of the main parts of one of the titles of Senate 2277, the bill, is to ensure our integration of the German military into the American military. So clearly there is the intent to put Germany in a position that its military is dependent on American operational procedures and technology and cannot act independently. Mm-hmm. That's what Washington uses NATO to do. It incorporates the militaries of the other countries into its in a way that they are dependent on the communication system controlled by Washington and all the weapon systems and everything else. So in a way, it makes these militaries unable to function outside the American umbrella. So I don't know that, to come back to what we were talking about, that Putin's bet will pan out for him. Instead, what's happening is there's slaughter of these Russian-speaking people who are living in territories that formerly were part of Russia itself, territories that were attached to the Ukraine by various Soviet Communist Party leaders. And this, of course, if it continues and these people continue to be slaughtered the way the Palestinians are being slaughtered in Gaza by the Israeli military, it will tend to turn against Putin inside Russia. Right now, he has very high standing, but at some point, he needs to take action to stop the slaughter of these people who are formerly Russian citizens. Mm-hmm. And if he waits too long, it becomes more difficult, because we have seen the announcement that the United States is now sending military advisors to Ukraine. Now, this is the beginning, then, of U.S. direct involvement in the conflict. If the advisors, if we follow the Vietnam pattern,
yes,
next there'll be fighting. And so then this makes it harder for Russia to